One of the U.S. Open is coming to a close here in New York City, and there's been a lot of action on the courts as top tennis stars from all over the world have faced off in some must-see matches. Each are hoping to make it to the finals, of course. Coach Rick Macci, Hall of Fame tennis coach, joins us now. Coach, it is great to have you back on. We spoke to you last year, and you're back. How would you characterize the Open so far this year?
Well, obviously, the big news is Carlos Alcaraz, the generational talent, four-time Grand Slam champion, but only 21 years old. That shocked the tennis world, that him losing in straight sets last night. Mentally, he just wasn't there. And I think anybody listening should understand tennis is a game of inches from one ear to another. So mentally, he just wasn't there. But he's 21, and the greatness is on the horizon.
As I've mentioned, my son plays a lot of tennis, and when I woke him up to tell him what happened to Alcaraz last night this morning, I said, see, this can happen to anybody. Tennis is such a mental game, and sometimes it's just not your day. There was that, and there was also this Dan Evans won the longest U.S. Open match since at least 1970. This match apparently went on for 5 hours and 35 minutes, Coach. Tell us about that.
Yeah, in the blistering heat. It wasn't like at night. 5 hours, 35 minutes. It's a record. They made history. But I love the guy's quote. He has the quote of the tournament. They go, "What are you going to do now?" And he goes, "I'm going to bed." All right. So that was the quote of the tournament. But, he hasn't been playing well all year. And for him to pull this off, he did a lot of good stuff. But even better, he won his next round. So now he's in the third round.
There was the Osaka loss. We were watching this one closely. Also in the second round, there's been some upsets here. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a little bit. You got to understand, she has 4 Grand Slams in her back pocket. She's won the U.S. Open a handful of times, but it didn't surprise me that she lost to Karolina Muchova. Muchova has been 8 in the world. And last year, when I was with you guys, she was my dark horse, and she is again this year. So it wasn't really an upset. But Osaka, she took time off, had a baby. She had a good win in the first round, Ostapenko, but she had a brutal draw. So Muchova is a great player, and listen, she could win it all.
She played, that was a dynamite match on her part. You're right, I shouldn't have called it an upset considering the rankings, but perhaps Osaka was the more known player that a lot of the crowd was there to see. So far, what is your standout moment? I also know that Tsitsipas has exited the U.S. Open. What did you think there?
It doesn't surprise me. He doesn't play that well at the U.S. Open. And mentally, he's not in a good place. He says, "I'm not the player I used to be." I don't know if I'd say that out loud to all the competitors, but if I come back to truck up, we got to go to center. The doping stuff was kind of above his head. That's in the rearview mirror, but he started off a little shaky, but he's back on track. And how can we not talk about Novak Djokovic? He's usually the one running the show, but the other day, instead of giving the heat, he was feeling the heat. He was hanging out a lot with the physio, the ice, but that's why he's the GOAT. He hung in there, he persevered, he's on to the next round. And what's amazing, he's the first player in tennis history to win 90 singles matches in every Grand Slam.
Wow.
He's amazing.
Coach, it's always great to talk to you. My mind was blown by, I think there's been a moment or two where the AI line judge has gotten it wrong and they've had to stop play and replay the point. I think it happened to Coco Gauff. We couldn't pull the tape, but I don't know. I guess it's working, right?
Yeah, they're eventually going to go to that all the time, but they'll work the bugs out. But that's definitely the way of the future.
Coach, awesome to have you back. Thanks so much for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me.
I hope to talk to you again soon.